bombarded with constant distractions, such as those from social media platforms, work, and family lives. Apart from therapy, one other practice to effectively distress and combat anxiety feelings is through the practice of mindfulness. And to understand mindfulness, its benefits, and how it is practiced, I'm joined in studio by the Mindfulness and Wellbeing consultant, Mother K. Masire. Thank you so much for joining us in Context.
Thank you very much, and hello, Lucia.
Hi. First and foremost, what is mindfulness? Let's just start there.
Mindfulness is intentionally paying attention to the present moment of what is going on internally, that is your thoughts and your mind, and what is going on in your body and your external environment.
Right.
That is what mindfulness is. But if you are trying to explain that to a 6-year-old, because we are told if you understand something, you should be able to share it with a 6-year-old. It is just, being aware of what is going on within you. That is mindfulness in essence.
Mindfulness is centered around the present moment.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
And how is mindfulness?
Without judgment and with compassion.
Right.
Yes.
That is very important,
That
actually.
That is the highlight. Just like the cloud in the sky, so you are just watching what is going on within you, just like you watch the clouds in the sky.
And I think most of the times we are clouded by judgment of self.
Absolutely.
So much so that we fail to be in the present moment and show gratitude.
Absolutely.
For where we are.
Absolutely. Most of the time we are either in the past or in the future. But if you spend a whole lot of time in the past, you're knocking in the door for depression.
Right.
And then when you're overthinking the future, this is now where you're inviting anxiety. Because right here, right now, you'll be able to be here now and be able to respond to the situation, not react.
Right,
Yes.
right. I, for one, find it very difficult sometimes to stay present. Like we've just said, there's a lot going on around the world. There's work, there's family, motherhood, you're a friend, you're this, you're that, and you get so consumed in all of these things that you're doing, so much so that you just cannot, or you do not allow yourself time to stay present. How am I supposed to do that? How can I go about, practicing mindfulness?
Okay, practicing mindfulness, there are techniques and practices that when you practice them over time, your mind, then you are able to observe what's going on and not be attached, because the mind's job is to think.
Right.
So on average, a person have 55,000 thoughts in a day. It's only that we are not conscious about that, but there are 55,000, and thoughts have energy. So it's a matter of then you focus on those thoughts as they happen. You can be just taking a shower and you think about that hadufruitsing by choppies. It's just a random thought.
Yeah.
But while you are there, you can then think about, I don't have money for enough fruits or whatever. It's actually your thoughts that you then activate. So how you would learn to be mindful, there are practices like meditation that can actually help you to be more mindful.
Let's get into talking about meditation now. How do I meditate?
Okay, before I get into meditation still on mindfulness, I like to explain this more that I am a Motswana, and in over years of my practice, I really wanted to find out what did we do for our well-being as Botswana. And then I realized, like, oh my God, we actually have mindfulness. Anybody who have grown, especially our generation, who've grown with the grannies komasimo, as kids you hear a granny saying, hey, la Claudia, ki theditse. So they'll be mindful. She's not sleeping. She's just we theditse or go diragalang mo tlhaloganyong ya gagwe maikutlo le mmele le ditikologo tsa le mo go tsone. It's only that we don't package things.
Right. So mindfulness ka Setswana ke gone mo re tlebeng re re
go itheetsa,
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
And then now, meditation, it's a practice that helps us to be mindful. Yes. Meditation, in essence, is the focusing of in one area. And then you just focus there. And with mindfulness, we use our breath as a focus. Because now when you are just focusing on your breath coming in and out, eventually the thoughts just dissipates. Focus and when you do that, you give your mind a break. Yes, and then it can be able to operate how it's supposed to be naturally.
Right. How easy is it to meditate? Because I've tried to meditate before, and I found it a tad bit difficult to, clear your mind and just focus on the breathing, like you've just explained.
Okay. There are different forms of meditations. There's the breath one, there can be a physical one, just movement. I'll take it back to our culture, Setswana. Bagolo ba rona ne re phakela a ba tsoga a go hela jarata. So at that point, they're focusing on where that lehelo la Setswana is moving. And if they are focused jarata in nantle hana kantse hora gore they are not present wa go bona ka hana hela ka teng. So that is part of meditation. So the one that you're sitting down, yes, for some people can be quite difficult, but just like anything, the more you practice, the easier it gets. You just need 10 minutes at a time before you sleep, 10 minutes in the morning. And in essence, it's really about following your breath and not being hard on yourself. Did we mention not being judgmental? So you'll be judging yourself that you're not able to, instead of saying, okay, fine, let me go again, let me breathe in and out.
Right. It's quite interesting how you are aligning mindfulness with things that we've lived with, we've seen all through our lives.
Absolutely.
And we didn't know that this is mindfulness. Quite interesting, quite interesting. Let's just get into more techniques of, practicing mindfulness.
Okay. Before we get in the practice of mindfulness, I'll just like to just share something in a very short.
Of course.
Yes. So what happens is our emotions, we're emotional beings. So our emotions are affected by our thoughts. Se re sa akanyang, se helela a ke re nka tsenya le Setswana for the case of our listeners,
Of course.
to make it easier for Batswana. Ha o akanya, dilo tse o di akanyang di ama maikutlo a gago. Ha o ka kwa re o akantse sepe se sena se se boitumelo, o bona sad, maikutlo a ya ko tlase. Ha maikutlo a le ko tlase, a rotloetsa ka ha o tla bo dirisana le batho ba bangwe kana o buang le batho ba bangwe. So everything starts with a thought, and then eventually it becomes an emotion, and then your emotion affect your behavior and your action. So I thought that was really important. So when now you are meditating, you are putting a block on the thoughts. And then you are allowing yourself to be a clean canvas. Ya no gore whatever comes from there has affect ke other thoughts from the past or from the future, but it's from clarity point of view.
Right. Right.
Yes, I
And
thought
then
that was important.
Very important. Very important. There's so many distractions in today's world, such as social media. Social media being one of the biggest distractions, I'd say, especially for this younger generation, right? How does the social media specifically impact mindfulness?
Okay, my belief is social media is not destructive. It's how we use it.
Right.
So when you are mindful, when you get into the social media space, you know exactly what you're looking for. And then if you are mindful, the minute you feel like it's making you feel some type of way, jealousy, anxious, you know it's time to switch off. to get out of that. So the importance of being mindful is for you to be able to manage and be able to navigate the world the way you intend to. So if your intention is to get into social media for learning, for entertainment, now when you are off that rail, you feel it in your body. If you are sensitive, you are now mindful. And that comes from practicing these practices that will get you into that space.
Right, right. It isn't the way that we use it that make it destructive.
Absolutely.
Right. Do we practice mindfulness all through the day, or is it something that you practice just here and there during your day?
Mindfulness is a state of being.
Right.
And then the practice being meditation and other practices, these are the tools that help you to be a mindful person.
Right.
So we are born with that. Be mindful. We are observers. That's why the kids, you know, when you put them in the car, that's why they don't want to be in the belt, because they want to see things. You know, they are present. So, but when we grow up and life happens, we have so many thoughts. Our breath go up here. We no longer breathe where we're supposed to breathe on our guard, and then our mind just go all over. So yes, you do practice being mindful throughout the day. However, can you be mindful throughout the day? No. And if you are not, because we are also practicing non-judgment, when you catch yourself, then you can fix that.
Right. Right.
Yes.
You just have to be in
Aware.
a state of aware.
Yes.
Right. You just need to be aware of your surrounding. That's this thing in therapy where they say be aware of your surrounding as ways of just trying to bring you back to the present moment. Can we maybe dissect that a little bit, adding where mindfulness fits thee?
Because mindfulness is the practice of being in the present moment. So what happens is when you are now in the present moment, and once you understand what is going on within you, whether mentally or physically, you can respond. This is the time for me not to interact with other people because I'm going to be irritable. This is the time that I cannot have this conversation with my subordinate because I'm not going to have an efficient and effective communication. This is the time that my body is demanding that I sleep. Most of us, we don't listen to ourselves. We are not mindful. The hands, you then get to the hospital, you're already on the brick. While your body have been communicating, telling you like, I'm not okay. But because you are not present and you don't listen, you don't do anything about it until it screams. You know how it screams? You get sick. It's called disease. Dis-ease. You're not at ease. And then the symptom being an illness. So the more you practice, you are able to, even in terms of the health element, when you go to the doctor, you're able to tell them exactly what is going on. My head is thumping on the left 3 times and then it stops because you've been practicing that. And then usually doctors give us, how they help us is through our symptoms so that they get medication. But how you know, it could be anything. These are symptoms or 1,000 things. And then they ask you a question, end up giving you something. 2 weeks later, you come back, it's not working because how you briefed them about what's going on within you wasn't really specific. So the more you practice, you know, you know, the more you practice, you even feel it in your body before your emotions. My anger comes on the left side of my tummy. I'll just feel it getting tense and I'll know, okay, fine, where am I? What's going on? What can I do? Because I don't want to be angry.
Wow. So we should listen to our bodies.
Yes. Our bodies, our emotions, our thoughts.
Right. They're all intertwined.
Ka gore ha o akanya, let's say o akanya gore diuga di tsamaye sentle ko tirong, the first thing you wake up is think about that unpleasant situations. Then maikutlo a gago a ya ko tlase a kere ga o monate. Setswana se monate ga o monate mo go wena. Ha o se monate a lo simola wa akanya gore, you know, Lucia did this to me, then your emotion then just build up. Mmele wa gago tense up, and then when it tense up, your blood flow doesn't go accordingly. Your breath, le yone na le tiro ya yone, go reela goreng you then disturb your body from functioning the natural way, and then eventually malwetse a tla. Some of the diseases, lifestyle diseases, cancer, we all have cancer, but some of the cancers is because of our emotions, what you've been going through, where are you keeping it, what are you doing about it.
Wow. Wow, there's a lot of societal ills, Mother K, and especially in these days where we see GBV rising, being on the rise, continuing to rise every single day, despite us having campaigns, different campaigns where people speak out, or we speak out against gender-based violence. How can mindfulness in this case be able to help alleviate such social ills?
Okay, besides the support of the structural and the policy support, now when it comes to individual, you know, we've been socialized to feel like emotions are things that are just there. Everything in your body has a purpose, you know what I mean? And you have things like, this is work, leave your emotions at the door. You cannot. You are an emotional being. And because of that, and the fact that people do not know what these emotions are communicating, there's something that anger is communicating. There's something that jealousy is communicating, an emotion that nobody ever want to admit. Admit it, because it's saying something to you. Jealousy is saying that there is something about you that you're not giving to yourself. So now that I know this, how can I then go about my life? So now going back to the GBV is that, you know, as a woman, how do I then express, you know, unpleasant emotions within myself instead of making them verbal or hitting the poor child, or as a man hitting my wife, you know? So it really does come to people really understanding how they're feeling and what they can do about these feelings and what they are communicating. I'm really for people understanding emotions, because once you understand your emotions, you know what they are saying to you and you can do something about it.
Right, right. We've run out of time, Mother
Thank
K.
you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right, that was Mother K Masire on the topic of mindfulness. And as she has just put it, our feelings, our emotions communicate with us in so many ways. And with our emotions, we're able to tell where the problem is and what we need to do about that. This is one way that can help alleviate all the social ills that we have been experiencing in the past years in our country. Stay tuned for the news at the top of the hour.